This bright royal yellow sedan with a coupe-like profile is the MG5. Now, you probably know the MG4, the electric car, very popular, selling very well. But you might have seen this in the news the last few months, the MG5 sedan. There have been reviews on it online. You've probably seen the reviews, some negative, some positive, but mostly negative. And why negative? Because of its NCAP rating. Now, if you're buying a car below 100,000, don't expect the NCAP rating to be very high. If you buy a car above 100,000, in our country, Malaysia, because cars are expensive, there's a lot of tax on it, you can expect the NCAP rating to be high. But of course, there are cars in this segment with a higher NCAP rating, but they are smaller, they are less equipped, and they don't look as attractive as this British iconic brand, MG. Yes, MG is a British brand. Some of you may not know that MG, Morris Garages, is a decades old British car company. But like many British car companies, they didn't do so well. They were not doing, they went bankrupt. So China came and saved them. And the Chinese company that saved them was also a problematic company. We'll not mention them. Then after that, another Chinese company, which is their current owner, a huge conglomerate called SAIC, took them over, revised the brand, revised the engineering, and now you have this car, the MG4. They've got a whole host of products. They've got electric cars, they've got coupes, they've got SUVs, but we are looking at the MG5 non-electric 1.5 non-turbo CVT gearbox model. 150 Newton meters of torque, not a lot of power, but this is a car for daily commuting. Come, walk with me. If you look at the front of this car, go to this side, please go to this side. Cameraman, come to this side. If you look to the front of this car with its sleek headlamps, and then you come across here sideways, as you pull away, you'll notice that this car shares the front nose effect of the Hyundai Elantra, the current Hyundai Elantra. There's nothing wrong with that. A little bit of copying is a sign of flattery. Now, if you come to the rear of this car, and you take that whole view, that sleek profile view, you could easily mistaken this car for a Mercedes CLA. I know some of you will be saying I'm being a little bit, over enthusiastic about comparing it with the Elantra and the Mercedes. But this is the comments I got after driving this car for a few days. People came up to me and asked me, is this brand A or brand B? But I had to explain to them, this is MG. Come to the rear. Sleek, droop down rear tail lamps. Reminds you of the Aura 07 electric car, which is another very popular Chinese car brand. Then you've got twin exhausts, but they're not real exhausts. Sadly, they're not real exhausts. The real exhaust is sitting down here, single, but it gives that impression of having twin sporty exhausts. So it's got that whole sporty stance, that coupe-like profile, and a very attractive price of below 90,000 ringgit in Malaysia. Below 90,000 to get a car this size, sedan, with few bells and whistles I got to mention. Tilt and slide sunroof with a sliding cover, a very spacious interior, proper, almost bucket-like electric seats, leather-clad interior. Okay, maybe it's not real leather, not the highest quality, but it does feel good and it's very comfortable. Nice steering wheel and a whole lot of other features on the inside. Now we'll take you for a test drive to explain more about the interior of this MG5. The moment you get inside this MG5, if you're an old driver, when I say old driver, I'm not, okay, maybe that's not the right word. When I say someone mature, a mature driver who's been in many cars, driven for at least 30, 40 years, the first thing you'll notice is how this dashboard is angled towards the driver, like the older BMWs. I'm talking about the BMW E21, the BMW E30, the early 3 Series. They were all angled towards the driver. And you get this. You see the screen is angled towards the driver. Even the dashboard is curved and angled. Then you got this nice cowl for the instrument cluster. You got a nice sporty steering wheel, flat bottom, thick, trimmed in red. Very nice feel. You got this chunky gear shifter. Yes, it's not a sports car, but they give you all these little things to give you a little bit of excitement when you're sitting in the car. Start, stop, ignition button is on the right-hand side top here. It's a nice position. Why? Because a lot of cars have the start, stop button here, which means you got to look for it, or you got to, tilt your head a little bit. This one is right within your eye view. Click. Car starts up. MG comes alive. And it tells you, caution, wheels not straight. Straighten up your wheels. The infotainment system, small, direct, straightforward, not too large, the way I like it. I know a lot of people like big instrument clusters. But when you see this instrument cluster, sorry, not instrument cluster, infotainment cluster, center screen, you will be reminded of what Mazda provides. I know in the early days when Mazda had something small like this, people said, oh, why is it not big like what you get in the cars that come from China and all? I said, well, do you really need a big screen? But people want a big screen. So this is something that MG should look at, because why? Consumers are asking for big screens. I don't know why they need a big screen, unless you're all having eyesight problem. Easy to use, easy to work with. You got physical buttons also, so you can get your important functions right here. They actually click. If you hear properly, they actually click. And I like the fact that they actually click, because that means they are feel. So when you're driving, you don't have to look down and you can feel this. Very important. Park release, charging outlets, and we're ready to go. Now you can see that the instrument cluster is digital. Very nice graphics, simple, straightforward. You got your speedometer there, you got your revolution there. It's a 1.5 engine, like I told you, normal aspirated, only 150 Newton meters, so it's not blindingly fast. It's a commuter car, but it looks like a fast car. You can get a lot of other information inside this car, like fuel efficient driving. You got the nice graphics there, which will excite a lot of younger drivers. You got a 12-volt battery, voltage indicator, fuel consumption indicator in a graph, accumulated total, current journey, accelerated timing, dynamic driving management. Now this will, you see this in the Renault Clio, the Renault Megane, the Golf R. A lot of performance cars have this meter. It's a toy. To me, it's a toy, but it's a toy that a lot of people like. So it's good to have if it's already there, Not like you're going to be using it all the time. So, it's not blindingly fast. It goes. It gets you going. It's easy to drive. It's easy to work with. Turning radius is decent. Not the best, but decent. You see, it ticks all the boxes. Not right on top, but it ticks. Maybe somewhere in the middle, somewhere slightly above the middle, somewhere slightly in all different areas. But if you look at the competition right now, which is Japanese cars and of course our local Malaysian car, some of the features missing. Some of the features you have. Some have more features. Some have slightly less features. So the game right now is who gives you the best deal. Now this car comes with a 410 litre luggage space. 410 liters is pretty decent. Because why? It's a big sedan. Probably the biggest in its class, in its sorry, that's not the right word. In its price segment. A below 100,000 ringgit sedan, this probably has one of the biggest boots. It's got a huge seating area at the back. 3 adults can sit comfortably at the back. Comfortably. With rear headrest. Isofix points. And you've got a very decent engine that's fuel efficient. So this car delivers what the average commuter needs. And again, below 100,000 you get pretty good handling, You get decent brakes. Pickup may not be the most spirited, but it's not bad. So, if you're looking for a sedan below 100,000, this car starts at 87,000 ringgit. Sunroof, decent sound system, a slightly entertaining instrument cluster. You need the size. You need to carry a lot of passengers once in a while. You need the luggage space. And it looks good. I have to say that it does look good. And it's got that premium badge, that MG badge. So you can actually get away by telling people this car is 20-30% more expensive than its real price. For a young person, that's a big difference when you're going on a date. So, comment, good or bad, negative or positive, share with us. Because why? Your comments help us make our videos better for you. Thank you for watching. This is DSF YouTube channel.